Well, good evening. You're very welcome to Inside Line Racing for round number 6 of ILR6 here at Silverstone for the British Grand Prix. My name is Graham, and I'm going to do my best to help bring the action from one of F1's most iconic tracks on the calendar. So, Dom Rajib is going to be the first one here to get us started on a flying lap. we entered the lobby, we entered the race, and honestly, within 3 seconds, he's pulled out of the pit. So he could be on a default setup for all I know, but maybe he just triggered that. He was just that quick to load a setup. It was just ready to go. He's on soft, so we'll get to all the good tire stuff in a bit. But we'll go over the championship standings first. After his dominant win actually in Austria last time round, King MJ is leading the way on 93 points now, 25 ahead of Don Rajib in second on 68 points, and another 30 ahead of XCI Dan in third. Those two have really had poor races in Austria. Don Rajib finishing 17th in the end, and Dan finishing 11th. I think Don Rajib actually may have DNF'd that race, actually, to be fair. But then backing up behind them, then after their poor races, MK Bourne picked up a really good second place. Then he's on 52 points. Then in fourth, and for the constructors, take a quick look. Ferrari still lead the way convincingly with 129 points ahead of Mercedes on 74 points, and then you have Renault in third at 67, and then Toro Rosso in fourth on 58. So a lot of work for everyone to do to kind of catch up to King MJ, especially with Don Rajib and XCI Dan. They have plenty of work to do now. They were at level, pretty much. It was a three horse race heading into Austria, and then just that one race then in the wet absolutely scuppered all that. And now we've got a 25 and 30 point deficit between first and second and then third. So that should be fun. Don Rajib though has actually pulled into the pits, so maybe not too happy on his bank lap of softs. Actually don't know who is actually at the front of the tree. We'll stick with XCI Dan as Ryan goes provisional pole 28.1. We are expecting to see sometimes in the 26s at the very least, and maybe even if anyone gets to the 25s, that'd be some legitimate pace. Here's Dan as he rounds, and he does go into the 26s, first man into the 26s, 26.8. That's not a bad banker, to be fair. The lap times will come flying in. Then Pinsky was a provisional pole, then he was ahead with a 27.7, but Dan quickly knocked him off, and I suspect they're about to be knocked off even further when King MJ rounds the final corner. It's a 27 flat for King MJ. So only man in the 26 so far is Dan. I got a couple of guys out there on the mediums, and even Sir Lane on the hards, which is an interesting choice to begin, because this usually is a fairly straightforward strategy. It's softs and mediums, but the hards, the only race where the blue-walled hard compound tyre does come into effect here, and there's certainly some interesting options you can do with that tyre. I'm sure we can get into some a little later on, so you can pick up anyone on a lap. Good thing is for Selene, he can just keep pounding around on those hards for as long as he pleases, because they are a very, very nice tyre indeed to kind of just, if you want to get some laps in, bang bang, those hards will take you very nicely. That's a Toro Rosso facing the wrong way. It's MK Bourne actually, so one of the drivers higher up in the standings. It's actually going to emerge out of the old pit lane there. So coming off then at Cops, then back end must have had a word, and now he's got to nurse that car back to the pits with wing damage, while also not scuppering everyone else's flying lap. So not the best start for him. He did pump in a 28.4 mediums, so as Noel Petrie then gets his 20. Is that rain on? Is that rain falling? No, couldn't be. I think it is actually drizzling. So it's like a little bit of drizzle here at Silverstone, so maybe that's why Dom Rajib was out so quick out the pits. But that is definitely rain falling. It's not very heavy, but it is certainly there. So I wonder then how quickly then this track is going to deteriorate then, if it is. We saw in last week at Austria that in ILR1 actually I should say, in Austria, that kind of the rain was there for pretty much all the race, but never, you know, the track never really got wet as such. It kind of, the track was very the times are very, very consistent throughout the whole race, despite the rain kind of being there, kind of the drizzle being there for, you know, a lot of it. So it might have every effect, as it gets. It looks like it is getting a little heavier. It might not have any effect, but maybe that's why Don Rajib was so quick to kind of get back in and then put on another set of softs to get something, because I think that rain is definitely getting heavier. So it could be a case where this is kind of the first flying laps then are the most important. So if you haven't got a lap in by now, you're in big trouble. We'll see what kind of lap time Jeep can pump in. He might be safe, but I tell you what, that is certainly getting heavier, and the track can only be getting more and more damn. Let's actually have a look. His first sector is a 27.4. If you look at XCI Dan's, so kind of around the same kind of ballpark. So he's okay for now. He might get away with it, but kind of everyone else may be coming out of the pits as there goes for a skid for the Force India View Wattmate, and he's disqualified for blocking the pit lane, despite the fact he is absolutely nowhere near the pit lane. That's got to be that's pretty harsh. I won't lie. That's extremely harsh. But there you go. Then he's going to be starting from the back. At least he'll have free choice of tyre. And how about the second? It's definitely getting a lot heavier. 27. What was our second sector? 35.7. Oh yeah, it's already. Track has gone absolutely haywire. It's 2 seconds down. So I think this could pretty much be it for qualifying. With just under 10 minutes to go, the rain is definitely affected. See what time will he put in. Will he even get past some of these guys in the hards? No, he's the slowest man to set time on these all period. That's a 30.1. So it's amazing. The track, he was only a 10th down through the first sector, but just how in the space of 30 seconds to basically get him to 27 seconds to get him to the middle sector, he lost 2 seconds. So you can see everyone else kind of struggling then with the conditions. So I mean, unless this rain in the next 9 minutes stops and then the track gets drier, has time to dry rather, that's probably going to be it for qualifying, you'd have to imagine. Because I can't see this getting any quicker, even if it stops. Have a quick check at the rest of the field. So who got away with this then? Who kind of... no, Patrick then is actually not too confident into this one. It sounds like a broken record saying that, but this has actually worked out quite well for him. 27.2 is good enough for 4th place at the moment. Iceman Sella, good job from him. So Reda looking strong here. He's in 3rd, 27.1. Ryan has got himself a good position as well as Ryan Berry, 9th place, 28.1. He's inside the top 10. A couple of guys in the top 10 on mediums. Suleiman MK Bourne, who despite that spin, looks like he's stayed in the top 10, but you could just see kind of how, and there it is, DRS is disabled then, so they certainly won't be improving now. And you can see Lord Elephant trying to fight the car constantly, but nothing doing. So there you go, then that is, I can only hope that the drivers might retire so we can kind of just get this over with, because I can't imagine it's going to dry in time for the track to kind of get back to where it was. And they're obviously not going to improve at this stage. Although if you're, I mean, there is some sort of position to be had here. If you're Lord Elephant, Nas or Johnny, you haven't set time, you could at least spare yourself P18 and get to P16 and say, look, it's not much, but look, every bit would count. Ultimately, one less car you have to try and worry about. So I guess for Lord Elephant, that is the kind of the appeal. They wanted to finish a lap, but you can see already how much he's struggling as he worms his way through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. And down the hangar straight. not lost speed in that Mercedes. Barely got up to 8th gear before reaching Stowe. See, he's fighting the car and he's going to come in then. As well as Nas and Wills. If you're Johnny, you may as well carry on, because you could jump up to 16th here, but he's going to come in as well. So everyone then is into the pits, and this makes for a great spectacle, doesn't it? Not a single car is out on track. So with just under 7 minutes then, I can't imagine much is going to change here. Again, the Palm 3 could set a time and, you know, gave a bit of position. Well, more so Nas and Johnny, but there you go, they're in. And, well, I guess that'll do it. So, over 6.5 minutes left. We'll see if everyone decides to retire or not. But by the looks of it, this is the order we have. So a couple of people are then retiring. Yeah, I think this is the best course of action if everyone just does it, because at this stage, nothing else to be gained from from qualifying now. It's kind of set, although Pinsky's actually gone out on a set of inters, which I guess we can look at. May as well. See what the YouTube comments are saying. I'm sorry, the qualifying's not an entertaining one. But hey, thanks for, if you are here, thanks. Can we get better for the race? If you have a prediction who's going to win, hey, send it in. May as well at this point. Give me something to look at, because apart from watching Pinsky out on track on the set of inters, there's not really much else to talk about until qualifying expires 5 minutes from now. There are some people who are definitely, I think, thankful for the rain. I think Noel's definitely one of them. I'm sure other people are thankful for this rain as well, because it really was a matter of just get out there as quick as you can and then pump in your laps and hope the rain comes soon enough. I think that has worked out for a lot of people. So we only got one man, the 26th in the end, being Dan, so he's going to take pole then. But it does leave kind of people open to strike. I mean, it would have been interesting to see if someone could get into the top 10 on the hards if they wanted to, but kind of the hards is kind of an emergency tyre, more so than anything else. It's a tyre that if you have an incident on lap 1, you can come in, you know, change your wing, put on the hards, and you can go to the end of the race. It's a very long stint, very lonely stint possibly, but look, it's a track where the hards are the only, sometimes the only track where the hards are available. So, and it's one of the few tyres in this across the grid, across the calendar rather, where it can go to the end from lap 1 basically, and not like a lot of, pretty much every track has, you know, the hardest compound tyre available can only take you so far, and then you're kind of, so if you have a lap 1 incident, you put on the hardest compound tyre, you go along, but you're going to have to probably pit again anyways. Whereas with this track, if you have a lap 1 incident, you can put on the hards and you can go to the end, so which is a huge bonus round here at Silverstone, because this pit lane here is so long, because you're going in such a low speed that a two-stop is just suicide. You're just killing yourself with a two-stop. There are tracks like Mexico and the such where, you know, that can work out for you. Abu Dhabi as well, you know, a two-stop can work out, but this is not a track where that's doable really, unless you have a safety car or some sort of external factor coming in. Whereas at least with a hard tyre, then you kind of, you know, you're bailed out. It's a bailout tyre basically, and it's not, well, it's not the best tyre to kind of get yourself going to start a race, but you know, the longer the stint goes on, it will kind of come back to you. And it does end up being a very consistent tyre, but the preferable strategy here is soft to medium. And again, if you're struggling with soft wear, then again that hard tyre is available to you if you really are struggling for wear. It can bail you out. If you have damage, it can bail you out. It's just a nice tyre to have around a track that is not forgiving in the past for a lap 1 incident. So, well, that wasted about 3 minutes, so we're at 2:40 left. Just Pinsky and Nass circling around on inters. I'm not sure what the conditions are for the race. I can't imagine. I'm guessing they're dry, if I had to guess. But we'll soon find out. If you do soft hards, I mean, I think it all depends what lap you're pitting, of course. If you can't get anything on your softs, and if you're struggling with temperatures for whatever reason, and you know they go early, again, the hard is a nice tyre for you to just fall back on if things don't go to plan. I think it does make more sense to start on the softs than it does on medium. So, but Suleiman in 7th here is kind of interestingly placed in it's a good starting position to have, and on medium. So he could be swamped in the first few laps by Speed Iceman and maybe Ryan as well, being a softer compound, but that could work out very well for him. Just has to avoid kind of any carnage at the start and hopefully not to fall too far back. There are a couple of people out of position, obviously Dom Rajiv being one of them. Lord Elephant, I think, will have some pace. There goes Nas, he does set time then, so getting himself an extra grid position there, so good, may as well, yeah, that makes sense for him to do that. So now that Toro Rosso now splits the two Mercedes, and I think Sir Lane's a little bit out of place as well. Danskar, not too sure what his pace is around here. He had some great pace a few weeks ago, did Danskar. So just a minute left. Almost end. Pinsky then comes into the pits. So we do just have that sole Toro Rosso left. And tell you what, Gasman's got a minute or so to get back in here, because if he isn't back in before this race starts, or kind of this qualifying session ends, won't be making the start of this race. And he's in a good, decent spot as well. 12th place, free choice of tyre. Be a shame for him to miss out. As we'll go on board with Nasme as well, as he goes through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. Back end wanted to step out, of course, in these conditions to really lift off. And up he goes, off to the onto the hangar straight rather. The other straight in this track, of course, being the Wellington straight. Anything else to talk about in the next 10 seconds? No. So thankfully this is going to end now. As he comes through Vale and then through Club. And then there you go then, as he slips and slides, we can finally end this qualifying session and get set for the race. So, very anticlimactic qualifying in the end, but we do have a grid order, and it is Dan leading the way from the front, and he's got Jamie behind him, just behind him, King MJ in second, but you know, good start at least if you want to make inroads on the standings. So he is in first ahead of King MJ. Iceman Sella is in third, Noel Petrick fourth, Bastos fifth, Pinsky sixth, Suleiman seventh, Iceman 8th, Ryan 9th, MK Bourne 10th, Monkey Meg 11th, Gazaman 12th, not sure if he got back in the end, Danskar 13th, Sirlane 14th, Don Rajiv then with a lot of work to do with 15th, Nas 16th, Lord Elephant 17th, Johnny 18th, Smudge 19th, and then You What was disqualified for spinning out of the pit lane, not blocking the pit lane. He was spinning out of the pit lane and then disqualified for being deemed to have blocked the pit lane. So great logic, and he's going to have a lot of work to do now from P20. So conditions for the race, they are overcast with a hint of blue sky above that that lovely pit lane. But it's Silverstone, and so it wouldn't surprise me if we did see showers at some point. But for now, nice dry race, so the drivers can have their tyres. Free choice, of course, for the drivers outside the top 10. If this were full qualifying, of course, they'd have the option to qualify too. Alas, it is short qualifying, so no such luxuries for the drivers. Softs versus mediums, but to be fair, this is one of the few tracks where you do want to kind of start on the softest possible tyre, because you can do the it's actually usable for once in the race, and unlike the hypersofts etc. on some tracks. Here we go then, as we begin the formation lap. What have we got? No one choosing the hards then. A majority of people choosing the softs and mediums. Everyone's choosing the softs and mediums, but then Suleiman inside the top 10, MK Bourne there on mediums, of course. Danskar, Sirlane and You What then choosing the mediums, and everyone else then outside the top 10 choosing the softs. Gasman didn't get back in time, that's unfortunate for him, so that's one less McLaren then to have then in this race. So from the front then, Dan leads them on, getting his tyres warmed up. Of course, this is a track where, you know, so many long corners. You really need to have a very pointy front end, especially if you want to chuck it through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. You want to have a very pointy car, but you also want to have a car that's not too much of a dog in the straight lines, because you know you do spend a good chunk of this lap kind of flat out. Obviously, you're flat out through basically from Brooklands onwards, so you head down towards Cops here. You know, this is all flat basically. A little bit of a lift you're going through Maggots and Beckett's, but you know, once that ends, you unwind onto the hangar straight, and then it's more flat stuff then up through the straight, and then throughout Stowe as well. So a lot of the lap you're spending on the throttle, so you don't want to leave yourself too exposed on the straights with a kind of more downforcey setup. Excuse me. So It's a tough one in terms of setup. Then you need, some people were really struggling for setup heading into this one, kind of debating whether to go with stability or, just to keep it pointing in the right direction, or to go with a bit more of a more aggressive setup. I mean, you're kind of 8, 9 ballast kind of territory, but that is risking a bit more in the high-speed corners, such as Abbey, turn 1 here, Cops, and then maybe through Maggots and Beckets if your rear tires are beginning to fade a bit. But that's all to come. As Dan takes his spot, then there's his teammate. He takes his spot then on the front row of the grid. Short enough run down towards turn 1. See who can nail the start. King MJ nailed it last time. See if he can do it again. Here we go then. 26 laps around one of F1's iconics. Who will emerge on top? Here we go then. 5 red lights. And away we go. Looks like a good start for King MJ. He's going to be alongside XCI Dan into turn 1. Will he take it the lead? Side by side. Oh, is the other Renault's going wide. Dan holds on to it. Will MJ go for the break? No. So he sticks into second place rather. Iceman Sells had a terrible start. He's falling down the order. Having started from 30, he's already down to 6th place. So the rest of them seem to have got their way through relatively cleanly. Side by side, the two Saubers going side by side. No change then down towards Brooklands then for the first time. So everyone been gaining a place in the top 3 basically, or top from 3 to 4, 6. As Iceman Cell kind of fell out big time. MK Bohr making up some ground on the mediums. He's held the other medium runner Suleiman, but they've got company in the form of Ryan, and Don Rajiev's made up some places off the start as well. It looks like he's got a full front wing, so he's going to be looking to attack these two pretty soon on the softer tyre, as Noel getting a good run at King MJ. He's just falling back a bit on this first lap of Dan, just hovering around 1 second. A little bit of twitch there heading out of Beckett's. Onto Chapel unwind then onto the hanger straight for the first time. Nice bit of straight line speed there for Noel Patrick. He's gaining somewhat on the Ferrari, but not close enough to make a move at this time around. Meanwhile, Iceman Stella trying to make back up for his start. A bit of squeeze on Iceman, the other Iceman, Speed Iceman, and down towards Vale then. Oh, almost he did run to the back of him actually. And there was a bit of contact, but thankfully no damage done, as Dom Rajiv already putting moves. Oh, he's a lot of action then. Ryan Berry losing out to Suleiman then as well. Sir Lane right there as well. He's going to go down the inside into Abbey. This will be a bold one. And actually made his life made a lot easier from Ryan running quite wide then. And that is then Sir Lane into 11th place on the softs. At the front, it is still Dan leading the way from King MJ. Noel Petrick in 3rd. Bastos then up a place into 4th. Iceman Sella rather trying to make his way back up through the pack after losing his 3rd place off the start. He's in 5th. Speed Iceman then in 6th. Pinsky then 7th. MK Bourne 8th. Don Rajiv 9th. And Suleiman then round out the top 10 as the two Force Indians getting side by side. This is Johnny and Uwat, or Uwat of course having started from the back and has got a move done. Oh, they're still side by side heading towards Cops, who go back down first. Oh, this is risky stuff. Who's got the inside line? I think it is Uwat, isn't it? And he has got through, so that is sending him to 17th place, and no way to turn the inside into Maggots and Beckets. It'd be crazy to have a look down the inside there, especially on your teammate though. Oh, there's a car off the load. That is the Renault of Iceman Salah. He's had a spin then at Maggots and Beckets then. Not sure if he was going for a move, but meanwhile MK Bourne, Don Rajiv side by side heading out of Stowe. Oh, losing all the track is Don Rajiv, but he has got the move done. Bit of a run off onto the on the outskirts there, but it's got the move done, and now into 7th place, and now King MJ setting the fastest lap of the race. He's 7/10, and oh, the overspeed there for MK Bourne. He did it, almost run to the back, very, very close to desync territory. Thankfully, both have avoided it, and they can continue on their merry way, but it's very, very close. Then Smudge then when he go for a move around the outside through. Oh, he's got to switch back, and there you go then. That's going to be a beautiful move then from Smudge. Oh, the inside becomes the outside then. He's kind of being forced off a bit by Monkey Meg. Actually not a bad view, that to be fair. He uses all of the track and more, but does now have the DRS then heading down towards Brooklands for the first time. Round the outside, he should have the good line here. Runs very, very wide, but should be able to hold on to that P11 then. And Ryan Bay right behind this as well. A little bit of a nudge from him onto Monkey Meg, and that's going to leave him a good run then Oh, it's desync, and that's going to be retirement shortly. And oh, NAS has been collected. That was an incident that could have easily been avoided. It was desync in the end, it looked like, and now we've lost Ryan as well. So 2 retirements then from that incident. By the looks of it, that's a shame for them. As Smudge picks up another penalty by the looks of it. As Suleiman then, oh, he's on off as well. I think they saw the grass kicked up there as well. As Sir Lane and then Caborn again looking to go as Noel Petrick and Bastos then squabbling through Stowe down towards Vale. It is still Noel Petrick then who holds on to that spot, and Sir Lane then looks like he's finally got ahead of MK Bourne, and that is Sir Lane into 8th place then. He's making up ground early on, so good progress then from Sir Lane, as is the same case for Dom Rajiv. Then he's into 7th place already, looking to try and get something done this one as Williams, and then his teammate then is out of this race. Not sure where he retired, but he's out of this race as Monkey Meg has to come into the pits and change that front wing. Meanwhile, still squabbling, these pair. Sir Lane still holding on to P8 ahead of MK Bourne, but they have to be careful because their squabbling has opened the door for Suleiman to join the fray on mediums as well. They're all the mediums at this stage of the race. As MK Bourne looks to go down the inside. Oh, there was contact. And there's Smudge there as well, so this is a 4-car scrap then for 8th place. Oh, it's getting very, very aggressive as Smudge is making contact at the rear of Sir Lane. Lucky not to lose a place then to Suleiman, who runs very, very wide in the exit of Woodcut to make their way through Cops then. On lap 4, that's a good run actually for Smudge. He's going to be closing right up to the back of Sir Lane. Of course, they will all have DRS, and apart from MK Bourne, but he might be far enough ahead. Has his exit off of Beckett's, as Dom Rajiv then using his DRS then to try and power past Pinsky round the outside. Gets that done then before Stowe. And now Dom Rajiv continuing his climb. Bastos then, doors open down the inside. Wasn't quite there in the end for the move. This is for P3 then. Noel Petrick then trying his best to defend. All sorts of commotion going off as Sir Lane still close to MK Bourne, who's using a lot of the track. Oh, down towards Abbey. This would be a risky one. You're traveling at such high speed, you have to leave a right amount of space, otherwise it is an absolute disaster trying to overtake into there. But he has got it done, and now he's now back into P8. But it's constantly changing everywhere you look. The field is constantly swapping. Dom Rajiv then with DRS trying to get a move done on the other Haas for 5th place, but not close enough. Meanwhile at the top it's still 6/10 between King MJ and Dan, so very, very close there. It's close everywhere really. Just kind of, no, Petrick's kind of looking like he's kind of maybe the cork in the bottle. 3.6 seconds behind the other Ferrari, and kind of being kept close for company then. A lot of cars behind. There's Bastos, Speed Iceman, Don Rajiv, Pinsky, and then a bit of a gap further back, and then another massive train then. Sir Lane, Smudge, Johnny, Suleiman are all kind of close, and Dan's kind of not too far behind that either. So where do you look? Basically it's all very, very bunched up. I'm going to stick with this battle though, as Smudge makes contact. He's actually missing half his front wing, and it's got, it must be his 3rd penalty already, as we got Noel Petrick and Bastos going together. Don Rajiv has passed Iceman as well, so constantly chopping and changing at the front here. Bastos down the inside into Vale. Can he keep on the exit of the club? I think he will. And Don Rajiv looking to try and jump Noel as well. So absolutely, this is great. This is great stuff early on. Absolutely great stuff. A lot of action, as you'd expect. At Silverstone, it is a track that gives great action, kind of no matter where you are through the field. Like even still, battle for 10th and 11th still very much on. But we'll stick with the battle then for P4, as surely it's only a matter of time before Don Rajiv gets by, and Noel runs very, very wide, and that will allow the Mercedes to power through with DRS assistance. And there he goes then into 4th place. So Don Rajiv is absolutely stormed through the field. It's made up of 11 places in this opening 6 laps, and looks like he's got his wing fully intact, so that's a great start for Don Rajiv. He couldn't afford to get caught up in the pack, and he's side through it with ease. And now can set off after Bastos then for P3, just less than a second ahead of him though. Runs a bit wide in the exit of Cops, but he's got his work to do after he gets by that Ferrari. If he can get by that Ferrari, of course. Lots of there's one thing to catch, another to overtake. As Noel picks up a penalty then, he's now behind Speed Iceman, so he's really struggling this phase of the race, and he's kind of really struggling to kind of keep with it. But he's got a good run then as Smudge is out of this race, as you got Noel then trying to hang around the outside. Oh, it's 3 wide heading through. Stowe, Pinsky on the inside as well, trying to sneak his way through, and he has done. And Noel then is going to dive into the pits then on lap 6. Can he slow down in time? He does. So he was struggling, and now he's coming into the pits. Will he put on the mediums or will he put on the hards? It's a lot to ask at the mediums to the end from here, but we'll see. Lap 7 of 26. It's a lot to ask on a set of mediums. We'll see what he can do. See what he puts on, as it's still 7:10, still very, very close here at the top. Kind of not much has changed in that regard. It is mediums then for Noel. He's going to try and get those 20 odd laps, as Pinsky then on the back of Speed Iceman. He's still within DRS of that Mercedes, but surely that's a luxury he can only have for a little bit longer, as Dom Rajib is trying to hound that Ferrari, now running third. Of course, it's run out of Luffield as he hunts down towards Copse. Difficult place to overtake. You really need to be right alongside. Not a place he can go for a dive bomb, but just a really nice exit. And now he's going to line himself up beautifully. Surely will have to back off through Magnus and Beckett's, but heading down the hangar straight then, surely this would be a great opportunity then for Domji to take himself up to third place then, and the top 3 in the standings will then be reflected as the top 3 on the track. Very easy move in the end, down the inside. Bass doesn't really fight that too much, and he moves then into P3. Meanwhile, MK Bourne and Johnny trying to go down around the outside rather. Oh, a bit of contact, and they have come together, and Slane's going to nip through, and that has damaged the wing of someone. I saw a piece of carbon fibre flying off one of the cars. I'm not too sure which one was which. I think it was MK Bourne, and it looked like an avoidable accident, but he's going to come in now, and well, that's a shame for him, because his mediums were looking quite nice at this phase of the race, and he was looking to go long, but that will not help. He'll have to put on a set of hards surely to get to the end. Of course, a set of softs will get to the end now from this point. He'll have to go for the hards. And of course, use 2 different tyre compounds. Surely, yes, he's on the hards, and he'll come out somewhere. Well, should be in P12. Meanwhile, at the front, still within 6/10. It's close. Nothing between. You just get the feeling that it's going to be penalties that will separate these two at the end of the day, well, isn't it? Unless someone can execute a successful undercut, but it's tough to choose at this time between Dan and MJ. We'll see as Sir Lane picks up a 3-second penalty, which is the gap he's now behind Pinsky in 6th. These two still squabbling. This trio of Bastos, Speed Iceman, and well, Pinsky's just taking an absolute roller coaster through Chapel, but still very, very. You kind of take a pick between these 3. Really, it is very, very close. Not much to separate them. And Suleiman, not much to separate him and Sir Lane. Gets a much better run though out of Copse than Sir Lane, but didn't hang it down the inside. Could have if he wanted to, but and there goes the other Force India taking the trip across the gravel. No, the grass rather. Is you watch Johnny then. I think just picked up a penalty as well. So these Force Indias are getting feisty, but they're still in 9th and 10th for the time being. So scrapping their way on the medium tyres, at least for Uwash. Johnny is on the soft, so he's getting close to the end of his stint. So they're all kind of bottlenecked behind Sir Lane. I wonder if he's got some sort of damage or something towards that car, because he is just looks like he is the slowest of this kind of bunch. At least for now, as here we go, then Speed Iceman and Pinsky then dueling through Brooklands and Luffield. Speed Iceman looks like he has got that. No, he got the move done. I think he was actually in P5 to begin with, so it is Pinsky trying to put a move on the Haas and carry a nice bit of speed as a penalty for Don Rajib. So that's not going to do him any favours in his chase for the top 2. He's already 6 seconds behind, and now a further 3 seconds. As Pinsky trying to get close enough, well, be kind of a little bit closer than this, heading out of Chapel onto the hangar straight to make a move, and it's not going to do him any favours this time around. Meanwhile, it's Johnny going to look to have a go at Suleiman as King MJ then comes into the pit. So then the first of the leaders then comes in, and he's going to try the undercut. Then this will be interesting. Lap 10, he's taking those softs. A lot of activity going on. Is there a couple of people diving into the pits? Speed Iceman and Pinsky as well. They've they've dove into the pits as well then. So they should emerge then in this little space then between MK Bourne then and everyone else pretty much. It's just it's a big gap. So King MJ is going to have a lot of room then to kind of push a lot of free air. Nothing going to be obstructing him on this outlap, and he's going to have a great opportunity then to surely vault over XCI Dan, who's going to have to respond to this undercut. Meanwhile, speaking of responding, Suleiman not quite close enough to make a move on Johnny. He's going to be going a little bit further into this race as Suleiman on those mediums, having started of course from P7. It has to be worked out. Sir Lane kind of the highest running medium runner at the moment in P4 at the moment. He's now kind of got himself a little bit of stability then ahead of Johnny then. Of course, with everyone else pitting obviously after that. So where's King MJ? He's got himself a nice gap then behind Dan's car. So he's looking good then at the front. Where is he? And he is diving into the pits then, so he had to respond to that obviously. As Iceman Senna picks up a penalty and gets himself slowed down in time. Does XCI then, and Don Rajiv as well has got the pit to respond. As Johnny and Suleiman will Johnny come into the pits as well for his stop? He will. So everyone else between last lap and this lap, they're all into the pits to replace those softs. Where then is King MJ? He's just coming towards Stowe as the penalties are racking up then at Silverstone. This will be very interesting to see then. So Dan is on his way. King MJ's yet to round Club. So actually, however, way that's worked out, it's not worked for King MJ, looks like, because XCI Dan is well clear, isn't he? So probably a hold, possibly in the pit lane, maybe for Don Rajiv, because there's no way he ends up 4 seconds behind Dan for nothing. So I think he has been held in the pits. Kind of everyone else kind of a lot of scrambling in the pit stops last lap as well. So that's worked out then for Dan. That doesn't always work out, but it has in this occasion. Now he's got a nice bit of breathing room. He's going to have to get those tyres up to temperature. He will lose a little bit of time in the process, so that gap is kind of coming down a little bit already. But once he gets up to speed, he should be good. And to be honest, with how little there has been to choose between King MJ and Dan, kind of in that first stint for pace, you wonder if that now is just a crippling gap for King MJ. Can he reel in 3 seconds? And once he gets within DRS, can he actually overtake? Because he was in DRS for pretty much all of that first stint, but could do nothing about it. Was always just a bit too far back, and now that Dan has got a gap, you just worry that could be a very tough situation for King MJ to overturn. But look, let's see, more than half the race to go. Lap 11 of 26. Gosh, Speed Iceman. I haven't done a lap on his mediums trying to get Bastos, who is just on his out lap and is yet to get those tyres up to temperature. We could have got down the inside, the door is open. And he thought about it late on, but a little too late. Really needs to commit to it. You know, at that stage, we need to commit to it. The door was open. He would have been within his rights to have a look down the inside the Stowe there, but thought better of it. And for the moment, still holds on to P9. Of course, a couple of people at the front. Dan Scaryu, Watts, Suleiman, Sir Lane, they've yet to pit, of course, on their medium tyres that will be coming in. Well, in the next 5 or so laps, you'd imagine. You know, lap 10 or so, get these softs. You want to get to lap 16 and 17 maybe with those mediums. Get your softs nice then to the end of this race. Still within DRS, of course, but a little bit further back, is he, to make a move on Bastos into Brooklands? Just a bit too far. Same story for Pinsky. Kind of field has spread a bit. As going a little bit wide was Iceman there. A bit of a twitch as Danskar picks up a penalty, so again, penalties coming in thick and fast. It is easier than you think. You think, how do you get a penalty around here? Well, obviously, if you extend, you can cut cops somehow, but obviously extending it will also lead to a penalty. You got Mackets and Beckett's. Abbey can throw up a little bit of a problem for a couple of people as well. You know, either if you exceed it or if it's easy to cut it as well. So it's easier said than done to get a penalty around here, and for going over the track limits, just like Pinsky did just there. But he is close to Iceman. Then he's reeling in that Haas. He pulls over to the right hand side, does the Haas to try and defend. He's got to force to go around the outside, and can't quite do it on this occasion as Dan responds then to that fast lap from King MJ beforehand. and the gap is 2.8 seconds then. As then, look at that, then that's how easy it is. On the exit of Abbey, King MJ exceeds and gets a penalty then as a result, so that's how it's done. And now that gives Dan a firm grip then on this British Grand Prix. Surely I'll have a quick check to see what his warning situation is, but now with a gap on track and now in penalties, it's looking good for Dan then to try and take some sort of swipe at that big championship lead that King MJ has established. Meanwhile, no DRS this time for Iceman. He can't really fight. He's dropped back then of that Ferrari, and that to his cost then of P9, as Pinsky then goes through and claims that spot then. So falling out of DRS was a dangerous spot then for Iceman, and that's proven to be the case as Noel Petrick then a lap down. I'd imagine he's had one stop, but I think he's had, yeah, it hasn't really worked out, has it? So I'm not sure how he's ended up a lap down. Must have missed something somewhere, unless I'm forgetting something that happened earlier in the race already. Tough spot. He goes off the track then. Left, that was a tough spot for him to be in, and that's left Iceman in a rough spot as well then, as Johnny tries to fight then versus for the last points paying position for the time being, and he's going to get by. So that's cost, that back marker traffic has cost Speed Iceman quite a bit there, and now he's lost P10 now as well. Thankfully he's got enough of a gap to MK Bourne then in 12th. So 3 laps down. How does he manage that? I look forward to seeing that afterwards, how he managed to be 3 laps down by lap 14. He did warn that he'd be spinning through most of this race, but I don't know, that's truly astonishing to be that far down. Maybe he had to pause or something, I don't know. But bottom line is he is in last, and he is in last by a very, very, very long margin. So then Johnny is in DRS now of Pinsky's, kind of the only kind of battle on track really, because everyone else is kind of very spread out, and these medium runners have yet to make their stops. They'll filter back in somewhere. Where though, we'll find out, but for the moment this Force India chasing this Williams, it's the only bit of action on track at the moment. And you look at that and you probably think all those medium runners are probably going to drop out between Iceman and MK Bourne. Of course, it takes a long while to make a pit stop here, as that Force India continues to close up to the back of that Williams, both running Mercedes power, as Suleiman then pits lap 13 on medium. That's a little early, isn't it? Could be asking a little bit to take softs that far, but he's in, as Johnny reels in this Williams. Will he go for a move down into Stowe? No, not quite, didn't commit to that one. Felt he was a bit too far back, but gets a good run out of Stowe. And Pinsky goes defensive, switches back then, and inside does Johnny, close to contact. Or a switch back then through club. This is nice actually, if you can make this stick. Oh, a little bit of contact, that forces both of them wide. They both survived, thankfully, but that could have been absolutely disastrous. There was some good switching racing there, and Pinsky has just launched himself across that curb. And now down the inside Johnny goes, he's left the space. Pinsky's really struggling to back in the car, really want to step out and really punish him, and he's going to lose more than one spot then, because with he's not got DRS, but is this straight line speed enough for Speed Iceman? No, not quite. So kind of shows you how much time Pinsky lost. He wasn't even, Speed Iceman wasn't even in the, he wasn't in the second when the activation zone was, and was right on the back of him by the time the activation point came. So that just shows you how much time he was losing, and that's a worry for Pinsky. If he's got to get on top of these mediums. They're only 5 laps old. If they're going away from him, or if he's just struggling, he's going to have to try and compose himself. And there are still some points up for grabs. He will come out ahead of these 3 cars who have yet to make their stops on the mediums. They'll carry on for another lap at the very least. At least the top 2 are, as Dan's car dives into the pits then from 3rd. Suleiman then is emerged in 11th, and he is right behind then Iceman on the soft tyre. So he's looking to make some moves in this race. Is the Haas. I wonder if there'll be any team orders in play, as Dan's car then should come out a good bit behind that little lot then, you'd imagine. We'll go back with the Haas's as they try and make their way. Dan's car then, where is Dan's car? He's just emerged from the pit, so he will emerge then in a very clear 11th place. And the 2 Haas's then not really making this switch, so looks like they are just going to race. But surely the soft tyres will help power Suleiman past. Speed Iceman heading down towards Brooklands then. No DRS to defend from his teammate. Switches to the left hand side, down the inside. He's going to try and fight around the outside, but with the superior grip, Suleiman should be able to launch this one. Get a better exit out of Brooklands, or sorry, out of Luffield, and he should be able to get through. See the superior traction and on those softs then powering him through, and that is job done then, you'd imagine, into P9 as Speed Ice will have to back off. And there you go then, that is the Haas then into P9, continue his charge. You can get up to 7th possibly, as Sir Lane then is the last of the runners off the front then to pit. He'll come out on a set of softs. It'd be interesting to see where he pops up, but this is also interesting as Don Rajib now within a second of King MJ, who's fallen well back of Dan. We'll see what the gap is, but he has fallen a long way back even after the stop. He's still around 5 seconds, so he was around 3, and now that is around 5. Where will Sir Lane end up? This could be a very interesting spot for Sir Lane. Where will he end up? There he is. And he'll come out ahead of Speed Iceman, but he's going to be behind Suleiman on softs, but he's got 2 laps fresher softs than Suleiman. And now these two, Johnny and Pinsky, they're going to be squabbling, but they won't be with each other for a whole lot longer, because now they're going to have company in the form of Suleiman and Sir Lane with the softs, and Pinsky trying to get as quick as he can to the left hand side. Oh, a bit of a squeeze for Johnny. Didn't have a lot of space there, but that is then Pinsky into 6th, and at least he saved himself at least immediately from the backfire of these runners on the softs. Sir Lane got a little bit of catching to do, but Johnny not wanting to give this one up without a fight. He's got a good run out of Cops as they head towards Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. As Watt then, sorry, it was Watt made that had another stop to make as well at the top, not Sir Lane wasn't the last one, but with DRS again, Johnny and Pinsky will be fighting along. He's got the outside then to contend with. He's got that move done though, and Johnny moves back into 6th place, and this is worrying then, because Suleiman is now right on the back of this, and Sir Lane won't be too far behind this either on soft compound tyres, so over half distance now. There's around 9 laps remaining, including the one they're on. Good run for Suleiman out of club. Can he do anything about it? Uwapme's going to pop out just over the hill, and he's going to be behind. He's going to be ahead of Dan's car, but behind Speed Iceman. As this little train continues to intrigue. Bastos in a good spot though. He's just cleared DRS. If he falls within DRS though, things could get a little bit problematic, but Suleiman can't quite get enough straight line speed. Of course, Pinsky is aided by DRS himself, of course, being less than a second behind that Force India. As meanwhile, Don Rajib still close to the back of King MJ, still within 6-7 tenths. Not close enough to be doing any damage as of yet, but still within DRS nevertheless. It's a good run actually for Suleiman out of Cops. He closes and closes and closes. They head through Maggots, a little bit wide on the entry there, but sorts himself out, shuts his exit like it's not bad, but he's still not quite close enough to get to the back of that Williams though, because that Williams is mounting an attack again on Johnny through Stowe and just can't quite get it done. So anyway, this has actually got a little bit closer at the top here, 4 tenths in between King MJ and Don Rajib. Would really help. Well, it would help somewhat for Don Rajib to get by a little bit of take a little bit out of these standings, but it certainly helps Dan as well, as Sir Lane then vaults by Suleiman for P7 then. So now he's going to be having just set the fastest lap of the race as well. So Sir Lane continuing to make his moves, and now Pinsky is next. Sir Lane showing good pace at this phase of the race, and can he now take that Williams, who looks like he's running good straight line speed? I know he's got DRS in front of him, but he's still running some good straight line speed. Runs a bit wide though at Brooklands, and with the superior tyres, look at this from Sir Lane. He's going to vault around the outside, is he? Tries to switch back. He's going to have good straight. Can he out drag Pinsky down towards Copse, down the inside, out of Woodcut. It's going to be brave stuff. He's going to hang around the inside. He is. And that's a great move from Sirlane. He moves up to P6 then as you Wattmate moves by Speed Iceman, who are both tangling on the outskirts of Copse. And then Sirlane into P6 as Johnny looking to attack Bastos then in for P4. And Don Rajiv very, very close as well, so battles all over the field. Oh, he's going to go for the switch back. He's got the move done, has he? Down the inside, yes. So as Don Rajiv then into second place then. King MJ running a bit wide then into the penultimate corner, and now Don Rajiv has moved ahead of him, so he's made up great ground. This race is Don Rajiv, and now Johnny's got by Bastos as well. It looks like he is struggling a little bit at this phase of the race, and won't be helped by the fact that Sirlane is coming too. So a lot of chopping and changing in this part of the race as the soft runners get themselves within the mix. And then Don Rajiv has finally got by King MJ then, who can't reply with DRS. And this is a dangerous time then for King MJ. If Don Rajiv breaks DRS, then could be a bit of bother for him. He might not be seeing that second place again, and he's got a penalty to boot as well. As Bastos then looks like he's going to take back this P4 down the inside. Excuse me, on Johnny then, and he's going to try fire at the outside again. This track is so good for bringing on side-by-side action. The Ferrari looks like he's just got a bit more out of that corner and holds on to P4 for the time being, but the chopping and changing constantly. There's a run out of Copse. He's going to be close again. Once he gets within DRS, then again, it's just a constant DRS battle basically. Who has DRS? It's like Germany in some ways, because again, having just lost the position, then Johnny looks like he's going to try and take it back with DRS, heading up down the hangar straight. Can he get close enough? Pulls over to the right hand side, goes down the inside. Can he get the move done this time? Nudges the Ferrari off the track a little bit, but the Ferrari's got the inside line. Later braking is Johnny. Going board with Sirlane, who's watching this with interest. Oh, bit of a nudge, and that's going to land the McLaren. A perfect opportunity to come through. And can he get through then? Oh, on the last corner, almost have made contact, and as did Bastos and that McLaren as well. But Sirlane then sneaking his way through, and now he's into 5th place. Sirlane could be looking at 4th place. This would be a great result. And he going to go down the inside, but just can't quite make the move. The back end twitching. Oh, a bit more contact then between himself and Bastos. Absolutely sensational stuff. And the DRS then, surely Sirlane is going to wallop by that Force India, and I don't think he'll be looking back. And now Sirlane into 4th place, having started well down the field in 14th. So, and Johnny as well has had a great race as well. So just shows you kind of you can overtake here as you watch. And Suleiman, oh, side by side with a nudge, almost threw Suleiman into the wall there, but he has got the move done. And you Wattmate now into 8th place. Any sign of change at the top? Don Rajiv has broken out of DRS range now, 1.2 ahead of King MJ, so he's looking pretty good then. Can Sirlane hold on to this P4? He's close. He should have enough margin then to stay ahead of that Force India, who is actually reeling him in. Can he catch him in time to make a move around the outside? Sirlane holding on to P4, positions his car really, really well, as Pinsky and Wattmate going side by side. Oh, Pinsky losing the back end. That could have been horrifically dangerous. Almost lost the back end into that Force India. That would have been an absolutely catastrophic accident, but he has held on, and well, he hasn't held on to the P7, but he's held on to his car at the very least, and he's going to have that Haas for company as well in the form of Suleiman. As Johnny getting very close into the back of that McLaren, so Sirlane hasn't been, even with the soft tyres, Sirlane hasn't been able to dump Johnny out, and surely it's going to be a reply for Johnny, but not the best run out of the loop, and he may have scuppered his chances to try and take back this P4 down the Wellington straight, but if he hangs in, he's got another chance heading down towards Stowe, as Wattmate then gets by Bastos then for P6. So the Force India is really making a move this part of the race, and Wattmate's done a good job to really make that one, make this work for him, because will start from the back basically, and now he is now in 6th place, the chance to even get ahead of his teammates still. He was right there. And Sirlane, I'm not sure if he has a penalty, but we'll find out come the end of this race. They make their way through Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. You know, he picks up a penalty though, the other Force India, and that won't do himself any favours, Neither will Johnny, as he is a little bit too far back now of Sir Lane, and I think Sir Lane has survived the worst of it, and on the softs should be able to power his way through then and keep that P4 at the top. It's a long gap, isn't it, for King MJ? And though he's picked up a second penalty, it doesn't really matter too much. He's a long way ahead, as Pinsky trying to hold on to this PA from Suleiman. Good run out of the last corner. He's got DRS. Is that going to be enough to save the Williams, though? It is for now. Positioning his car as best as he can and try and hold on to that PH, those crucial 4 points, but you feel it's only a matter of time before he succumbs. As they unwind onto the Wellington straight. Again, yep, Johnny's just too far back now of Sir Lane. So I think Sir Lane has survived. And Pinsky looks like he will survive for now, but he has been struggling, hasn't he? He's kind of been falling backwards. But he's still holding on to a points paying position for the moment, but it's going to be tough for him to hold on. Well, actually it's going to be impossible for him to hold on because he's got so much more penalties than a lot of the people in this field. And runs wide again at Cops, probably adding another, getting close to another penalty there at this stage. As Johnny picks one up as well. It's going to be interesting to see where these cars actually filter out come checkered flag. A lot of people with a lot of penalties. And a lot to be decided as the two Force Indians look like they're switching, are they? Looks like they look like a planned switch. So you made that into 5th place. We'll try have a go. We'll try and chase Sir Lane then for P4 as Danskar and Speed Iceman rather changing places. Danskar then moving into the points positions into P10, of course, on the soft compound tyres. He's making his moves. As Noel, okay, he's in the pits. 6 laps down, that's incredible. Really is quite something. So then, it hasn't taken long then for you Watt to, well, he's still out of DRS for now of Sir Lane, but you can see the pace difference between himself and his teammate. He's kind of losing him fairly quickly. And again, Suleiman is reeling Pinsky in, who's not got DRS, but it's not quite enough. So the one thing you can say about Pinsky is running a bit more straight line speed, and that has been saving him at least somewhat on these straights. And he's holding on for now. On the front, meanwhile, the gap is coming down. 4.3 between Don Rajib and XCI Dan, but of course we know Don Rajib has got penalties. And I don't think Dan does. But in any case, it wouldn't matter because he's got 4 seconds. In any case, on the track, even if he had 2 penalties, he'd be in a pretty safe spot. As Suleiman again can't quite close up to the back of that Williams. So, again, catching is one thing, overtaking is another. And if you've got enough straight line speed, you're in a pretty good spot. As Bastos then picks up a penalty, cutting that corner. You just saw him kind of hop over it, and there you go then. That's as easy as you can get. And now he's got a penalty now to boot as well, but good run out of Abbey. He was close to the back of that Force India and he's looking to put a move. He's hoping for P6, but who knows where this will end up once the final order is established. And he's not quite close enough. He's getting very, very close, but not quite close enough. Again, Suleiman, same story, close but not close enough, as they're on the second to last lap now. I did wonder if Noel was stuck, but yeah, it looks like he is. So that would be a good explanation why he was he's 8 laps down and not moving from the pits. But to be fair, he was nowhere in this race anyways. He was 3 laps down by lap 6 or lap 14, I think, or something mad like that. But it's kind of not been a very good race for him. He did start very well though, as this looks a little bit better for Suleiman. It's probably his best chance to overtake Pinsky. He's got to do it now, surely. Will he get a better opportunity than this on the second to last lap? No, he hasn't made it. He decided to go around the outside for some reason. Thought he may have gone down the inside, but alas, he's still trying to get into P8, but it's just not enough, as Dan now has begun the final lap of the race. He put his car in pole position, and survived the undercut. And after that, it's been plain sailing for the Renault man. He's going to pick up the full 25 points today, and at least cut 10 points then into that gap ahead of King MJ. Take it down to 20 points. So, hey, slowly but surely. But we'll see then. Suleiman, DRS one last time heading down the Wellington Straight. Pinsky jinks to the left, tries to hold it, and he has held it, but he's going to have the outside then on the soft. He have the better run out of left field. Pinsky positions his car really well, but can Suleiman get himself far enough up the inside to have go into Cops, or will he just file into line? He's got to file in, but surely a sprint to the line. Speaking of, Dan then is coming towards Club and Vale. It's been a brilliant race for the Renault man, and after a really tough outing in Austria, he's going to bounce back in the perfect way. XCI Dan wins the British Grand Prix. He's going to finish ahead of Don Rajib in second place. Great result there for Mercedes, having started from P14, I believe. A long way back. King MJ then is going to finish in third, and Suleiman not close enough to Pinsky. So let's see how this mess then will unfold, as Sir Lane then will be the first one to cross in fourth. See where he ends up. That can't be right. No, okay, I was going to say he finishes at 4th. Bastos then jumps up to 5th. Despite that late penalty, Bastos jumps up to 5th. Yuat then into 6th. Johnny into 7th. Danskar 8th. Speed Iceman 9th. Suleiman in 10th. So Danskar then jump up to 8th place then after that. So good job from Danskar then picking up 8th place after being basically nowhere in P10. But that was a moment for us. I thought Serlane had jumped up all the way to win the race. That would have been a little bit interesting, but Pinsky then drops outside the points then in 11th. MK Bourne is going to finish in 12th, a long way back in the end. Monkey Meg is going to finish 13th, and then Iceman Salah will finish 14th. Look at that, 19 laps, 23 laps, 21 laps. Yeah, sadly didn't really work out for the Hards, but there you go. Oh. Well, I guess we're waiting for this next minute and a half, are we? I think so. I'll just sit here for a while, just watching those cars in the pits, just forever stuck in the pits. Daniel Ricciardo thinks he had issues with Red Bull being held in the pits. Nah, this is a whole different ball game. So, so 7 seconds and 7.5 seconds of margin between Dan and Domrachip in the end. I don't think he actually had penalties in the end, did he? Did Dan? Did he even have a warning? Not even a warning. A squeaky clean race then. That's brilliant stuff from Dan. And hey, got the job done in qualifying too. Had to get out there quickly, get the job done in qualifying before the rain came. He was the only man to get into the 26s. You know, it's a fully deserved win from Dan. You'd just be kicking himself over last week in Austria, I think. That's a tough one, but he has responded in the perfect way, and there's still 5 races I believe left after this to try and eat into a 20-point lead, but it's still an uphill task, and you still have to beat King MJ over the next 5 races, which is no easy task at all. And of course Don Rajib, no easy task either, so they have their work cut out for them, and King MJ is still sitting in a good spot. As we'll just just a car off in the gravel, and the one about to join him. There you go. There is your British Grand Prix. We'll run through the standings and then we will call it a day. So we'll start as 1-3 for Renault on the grid. Did not turn out to be the case, but the top step did not change as XCI Dan lifts that trophy. Well deserved. Was a great race from him. He did a very good job. No penalties, no warnings. Pit stops worked well. Got pole position. Did the business for the rain. What much can you ask for? So then, he wins then. He's the only man not to get a penalty as well. Don Rajib in second, King MJ in third, Sir Lane then a great job from 14th in fourth, and as well as Don Rajib from 15th as well. Bastos 5th after all that finish where he started Iwap Mate from the back of the grid finished 6th. Johnny from 18th and 7th. Danskar did a great job from 13th and 8th. Speed Iceman 9th. Suleiman in 10th. Pinsky 11th. MK Born 12th. Monkey Meg 13th. Iceman Sella had a pretty tough going in 14th, but probably not as bad as Noel Petrick then in 15th place, being how many laps in the end? 10 laps down. Gosh. And then we lost Smudge, Lord Elephant, Ryan and Nas from this race, and poor Gazman didn't even get to start. So that's going to be it for round number 6 of ILR6 at Silverstone. Next up for these guys, actually next up for ILR actually, is ILRs 4 and 5. Same track. Again, this track is great for side-by-side racing, so hope you should get some great racing there. Hope you enjoy that. Same place, and yeah, until next time.